like an icebreaker doing?
Ready for the trip?
I am.
I think they all formed up in the jury Sunday. Not the same way. Let's all rise for the jury, please. How you doing?
No, y'all be seated. They're standing up for you.
You doing? Okay. Be seated, please. Please be seated.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a very pleasant lunch. Certainly the weather outside's nice. It seemed to get warmer between when we left and when we came back to the courthouse. But it is still that time of year. Just a few comments. I know that some of you have got some health concerns, but it's very important while we're doing the general questioning, which we're doing right now, that you stay in the courtroom and not leave. When we get into individual panels, we'll have a little more latitude, although you'll be in the jury box, so it will be a little more awkward. But I understand and want to work with you. But right now, when they're asking their general questions, it's extremely important that they capture your answers. And if you're, missing in action or AWOL or gone, that's not going to happen. So if you could accommodate that request, I would appreciate it. Mr. Boyd?
Thank you, Your Honor.
One thing that you're probably going to find through this process is that attorneys are notoriously bad at estimating time and telling you, or you're going to hear the term, just a few more questions. We always say that, and it's not true. It's almost like a bless your heart type of thing. We just say it, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm probably going to regret this, but I've got about 30 minutes left, so I'm about 2/3 of the way through. So let's see if I can get somewhere reasonably close to that. Okay. All right. We left off. I'd asked questions about whether you had volunteered with kids or worked in a paid capacity with kids. Who here has ever had to care for another person, not a child, but somebody that may have been sick or disabled or something like that? Who here has ever had to take care of another person other than a child? If so, raise your hand. Okay. Juror number 1. Okay. And that it would be if like a sick parent or something like that, that would qualify. Okay. Juror 2. Thank you. Juror 3. Juror 4. Juror 6, thank you. Juror 7. Juror 9, thank you, sir. Juror 10. And Juror 12. All right, second group. Juror 13. Juror, make sure you don't have your hand up. Okay. Juror 15. Juror 16. And Juror 18. Okay. Next row, Juror 20. Juror 22. Juror 23. Okay. Last group, Juror 25. Nobody else in that row. Okay. Juror 31. Juror 32. And Juror 34. All right. Who here has ever had a bad experience with law enforcement? What I mean by that is something that could be something like really, really bad, or maybe you got a speeding ticket one time and you thought you were treated rudely or something like that. Who here has had a bad experience with law enforcement such that it sticks out in your mind? If so, raise your hand. Okay, first group, no hands. Oh, okay, juror number 6. Thank you, sir. Okay, oh, sorry, juror number 2.
Do you mean like mistreated?
Well, that's a good question, and so we'll talk about an individual. Thank you. All right. Anybody else in the first group? Okay, second group. Okay, nobody in the second group. Okay, third group. Let's see, juror 34. And juror 36. Thank you. Okay, converse of that, who here has had a good experience with law enforcement such that it stuck out in your mind? You've had a really good experience with law enforcement such that when I said that and asked that, you immediately are like, oh yeah, I've had something happen where, you know, it sticks out in my mind that it was such a good experience. Okay, juror 3, thank you. Juror 2, you kind of on the fence about it, or? Okay. Well, I've got one more to get to, and then make up your mind. I'm just kidding. Okay, juror 7. All right. All right. Keeping it down? All right. Okay, second group. Juror 15. Okay. Anybody else? Second group? Third group? Okay, no hand. Oh, juror 36. All right. Now, who here has anyone here had a bad experience with a prosecutor's office? It could be a misdemeanor prosecutor, felony prosecutor, either here in Glenn County or somewhere else. Who here has had a bad experience with a prosecutor's office? Okay. Nobody in the first group, nobody in the second group, and juror 32. Thanks, sir. Okay, kind of, again, the other way around. Who here has had a good experience with a prosecutor's office or prosecutor that sticks out in your mind? If so, raise your hand. Okay, nobody in the first group, nobody in the second group, nobody in the third group. Okay, is there anybody here who feels that either yourself or you know somebody, a family member or a close friend, somebody you feel has been treated unfairly by the judicial system? Either it could be in a civil case, divorce, or a criminal case. Is anybody here, either yourself, family member, or friend, you know somebody who's been treated as you feel unfairly by the court system? If so, raise your hand. First group, okay, no hands. Second group, no hands. Third group, no hands. All right, remember what I told y'all? We have the GCIC, which is known as criminal histories here, to kind of give us arrests and things like that. I'm going to ask you, this pertains to something, I'm not going to be talking about some kind of parking ticket or anything like that. I mean like something just over a parking ticket, like you've been arrested for DUI, battery, or something greater. Not just you, but you, a family member, or a close friend. Okay, you, family member, or a close friend. Does anybody here know someone that has ever been arrested, prosecuted, or convicted for a crime? Okay. I'd be raising my hand too. I think most of us would, so. All right. Thank you, Juror 1, Juror 2, Juror 3, thank you. Juror 5, thank you, sir. Juror 6, Juror 7, Juror 8, Juror 11, and Juror 12. Thank you, sir. All right. Second group, Juror 13, Juror 14, Juror 16, Juror 17. Thank you, sir. Juror 19. 20, 22, 23, 24, thank you, sir. Juror 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay, last row. Juror 32, 33, 34, and 35. Okay, I know that there's several military people here, so it's kind of a corollary to that. Does anybody here know someone who's been subject to a court martial or anything like that? Does anybody here know somebody that's been subject to a court martial? It gets similar to an arrest. Anybody? Panel, okay. All right. Juror 3, thank you, sir. Second panel, second group, Juror 17, thank you, sir. And 27. Is there anyone here that has either yourself, a family member, or a close friend ever been falsely accused of a crime? Yourself, family member, or close friend. Does anybody here know somebody that you believe has been falsely accused of a crime before? Okay. First panel, or group, sorry, no hands. Second group, no hands. Third group.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When you talk about a crime, are you talking like a misdemeanor or a felony or?
Yeah, yes. Kind of the same definitions I've given before.
Okay. All right.
Yes. So, you want to raise your hand?
Yeah.
All right. And that is Juror 34 for the record. Anybody else? Nothing else. Is there anybody here who's actually been a witness in a court proceeding? And I mean by witness, I mean you've actually had to come into court either in a civil case, a criminal case, something like that, where you've had to raise your hand, swear to tell the truth, and testify either before a jury or a judge. Has anybody here ever been a witness in a case? Okay. Let's see. Juror number 12. Thank you, sir. Let's see. A lot more over here in the second group. Juror 13. Juror 15. Okay. Next row. Juror 19. Juror 22. Juror 23. Okay, last group, we've got juror 31. Okay, who here has ever provided a statement to a police officer before? Either something like, something happened, your house got broken into, or there was a car accident, something such that you actually had to sit down with the police officer and talk to them and give them a statement of what you either witnessed or what happened. Okay. Juror 1, 2, 3, thank you, sir. 5, 6, thank you, sir. 9, 11, and 12. Okay, second group. Wow, all right. 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, second row, group 2, juror 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and last group, 27. Nobody else in that row? Okay, last row, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. Okay. Now, I know we've had some levity in here a little bit about some of these questions and things like that, but because you've heard the indictment and things like that, we need to make sure that we make sure you don't have any personal experiences. As we've talked about, we don't expect you to come in here not knowing anything, having heard anything, having any opinions. It's whether you can put that aside and put any experiences aside and be fair to both sides and follow just the evidence and the law in this case, just simply to do that. So I have to ask some questions, though, kind of in relation to this to see if you have any experiences with certain subject matters. So to start with, has anybody here, and I know we've got teachers in here, so we'll probably get some hands, has anybody here ever had to report or make a complaint or allegation regarding suspicions of child abuse, either to DFACS, police, or a boss or something like that? Has anybody here ever had to report suspicions of child abuse, either physical, neglect, anything like that? Okay. First group. Okay. And that's juror 3. Thank you. Okay. Second group. Okay. Juror 13. Thank you. Juror 14. Next row, no one. Okay. Third group. Juror 27. Kind of a follow-up to that. Is anybody here, either yourself, family member, or a close friend, has ever been investigated or had to deal with allegations of child abuse, neglect, or anything like that? Does anybody here know somebody that's been investigated for child abuse, either neglect, something like that, investigated by, could have been DFACS or another agency? Okay. First group, okay. Juror 10, thank you, ma'am. Okay. Let's see. Second group, no. Third group, Juror 29, thank you. And Juror 32. Is there anyone here who either you or somebody close to you has ever had to deal with the sudden death of a child? Anybody here, either yourself or somebody close to you, has had to deal with the sudden death of a child? By child, I don't mean like an adult son or something like that. A child, somebody that was a minor when they passed away, unfortunately. Okay. First group, okay. Juror 3. Thank you, sir. Juror 5. Thank you. Juror 9. Thank you, sir. Juror 10. Juror 11. Thank you, sir. Okay. Next group. Juror 13. Thank you. Juror 16. Thank you, ma'am. Juror 17. Thank you. Okay, next row, Juror 20. Juror 22. Okay. Last group, Juror 26. Thank you. Juror 27. And Juror 30. Okay, last row, Juror 31. And Juror 34. Is there anyone here who either has a family member or somebody close to them has ever been the victim of a homicide? Is anybody here, either a family member or a close friend, have somebody like that that has been a victim of a homicide? If so, raise your hand. Okay. 3-ish. Okay. I'll mark you down and we'll talk about it, okay? Okay. Juror 8. Okay. Second group. Juror 13. Okay, Juror 15. Juror 16. Let's see, Juror 20. Okay, last panel, no hands. All right. How many people here are actually familiar with Cobb County? You know where it is. How many people know where Cobb County is? Okay, so most people kind of know. Let me ask some more particular questions of that. Has anybody here ever lived in Cobb County? Has anybody here ever lived in Cobb County? Okay, we'll start with the first group. No hands. Okay. Second group. Who has lived in Cobb County? Okay. Juror 17. Thank you. Okay, second row, Juror 21. Okay, and last group, Juror 26. Yeah, okay. Does anybody here have family members that live or have lived in Cobb County? Anybody here have family members that live or have lived in Cobb County? Okay, let's see. Juror 4. Okay. Juror 10. sorry, let me go back over here. Juror 7.
I'm not sure.
There's a lot of confusion. We'll clear it up because some people are like, does this city count as Cobb? Does that? All kind of runs together. And we'll figure it out individually because some of it y'all are going to be way off. I'm just going to see how far off y'all are going to be. What's that? Just say yes, and then we'll talk about it, and we'll tell you how wrong you are if you're wrong. All right. All right. Thank you, Juror 9 and Juror 12. Make sure I wrote that down right. Okay. Next group. Juror 13. Okay. Nobody on that row. Second row, group 2. Juror 20. Okay. 21. Okay. 22. And last group, we've got Juror 31. And 32. Okay. I'm going to read out some locations. If you know these locations in Cobb County, raise your hand, okay? First of all, there's a Chick-fil-A located at 2485 Cumberland Parkway in Cobb County, Georgia. That's over near 285 Paces Ferry area. If you know the area, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, is anybody here familiar with that area, that Chick-fil-A? Okay, Juror 12, thank you. Okay, second group, Juror 15. Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else in that group? No? Okay, going back to the third group, Juror 26 and Juror 33. Okay, who here, are any of y'all familiar with Acres Mill Square? Kind of over in the same general area. It includes businesses like Uncle Mattio's, Cinco's, Acres Mill Shopping Center. Anybody here familiar with that area? Okay, first group. Juror 12. Okay. Second group, no hands. Third group, Juror 26. How about the Home Depot Treehouse office location at 2600 Cumberland Boulevard? Anybody here familiar with that? Okay, first group, no hands. Second group, no hands. Third group, no hands. And finally, Home Depot headquarters at 2455 Paces Ferry Road in Cobb County. Anybody here familiar with that location? First?
I know where it's at.
Okay. That's Juror 12. Okay. And Juror 26. Is there anybody here familiar with Stonebridge Church in Marietta, Georgia? If so, raise your hand. Okay. No hands in group 1, no hands group 2, no hands in group 3. Okay, now, is there anybody here who either yourself or a family member or a close friend has ever been in a dating, romantic, or some type of relationship like that where they've met the person online? Is anybody here, either yourself, family member, or friend, somebody you know, has ever been in a relationship where they met the person online? Okay. Okay, Juror 1. Okay. Juror 2. Juror 5. Oh, sorry. Juror 3. Juror 5. Juror 6. Okay. Juror 11. And Juror 12. All right, second group, any hands? Okay, Juror 15, 16. Okay, Second row, no hands. Okay, last group. Okay, 27. And last row, juror 34 and 35. Okay. Is there anybody here, or either yourself or somebody you know, has ever forgotten or almost forgotten and left a child or an animal in a motor vehicle? Forgotten an animal or a child in a motor vehicle. Has anybody here, either yourself or somebody you know, done that before? Okay. All right. Juror 6, thank you. Okay. Second group. Juror 16. Okay, third group. Okay, no hands. Has anybody here, either yourself or somebody you know, forgotten a child somewhere other than in a car? Like forgot a child somewhere other than in a car? If so, raise your hand. Okay. Juror 2. Okay, anybody else? Okay, second group. Okay, third group. Juror 35. All right, has anyone here ever heard news accounts or read about accounts of children being left in motor vehicles for some period of time, either intentionally or negligently or for whatever reason? Has anybody here heard news accounts of this happening? If so, raise your hand. All right. Who here is not? Okay, good. That was easy. Now we don't have to go 1, 2, 3. Great. Okay. All right. Who here currently transports a child in a car seat? Who here currently transports a child in a car seat? Could be your own child or a grandchild or something different. Okay. Juror 5, thank you. Juror 8, thank you. Juror 10. Okay. Second group, nobody. Okay, third group, start with, okay, juror 27. Juror 25, sorry. And juror 35. Who here has ever been responsible for transporting, not either now or before, transporting a child to daycare or school? Who here has ever been responsible for that? Okay. Like, okay, but who has not? And that makes it easier. Okay. What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to that panel. Yeah. So, all right. First panel or group. Sorry. 2. No daycare. Okay. 6. Okay. Anybody else? 11. All right. Second group. Or before. Have you done it before? Okay, then don't raise your hand. If you've never been responsible for transporting a child to daycare or school. Okay, so juror 15. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, has anybody here ever ridden in or driven a Hyundai Tucson? I really butchered how you pronounce Hyundai the other day, so I've tried to correct that. Okay, anybody here ever ridden in or driven one? Okay, juror number 8. And anybody else out there? Okay, juror 16. All right. Just so you know, I hate to speak for the defense. I usually will not do that, but I imagine they're not going to have as many questions for you because I've tried to be as comprehensive as possible. And I only have a few other questions. First of all, has anybody here ever, we had some people in a prior jury panel who are really involved in criminal laws and things like that. Is there anybody here who's ever researched the Georgia statutes or statutes of another state regarding the law on murder, cruelty to children, sexual exploitation of minors, or dissemination of harmful materials to minors? Has anybody here ever researched the laws on those crimes? Okay. Okay. And I'll be raising my hand on this one too. Has anybody here ever been through a divorce? Okay. All right. Juror 3.
Do you mean personally or family?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is just personally. Sorry, not just knowing somebody. Thank you for making sure that was clear, because I probably would have got a lot of false positives on that. So, okay, yourself been through it. Juror 3. Okay. Juror 7. Thank you. Juror 8. Juror 10. Okay. Second group. Okay. Juror 13. 14, 15, juror 16, 17. Okay. Next row, juror 19, juror 20. Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say, 19? Okay. I didn't need to put that on you. Yeah. I don't think your husband's going to be real happy about that. For the record, 20. Okay, got it. Because if you tell your husband your juror number, he's going to be like, what the heck? Okay. Juror 22 and juror 24. Okay, last group. All right, juror 26. Juror 28. And last row, juror 31. Juror 32, 35, and juror 36. All right. This case, the defendant's charged with murder. This is not a death penalty case. In the state of Georgia, the issue of punishment, if there is any punishment in a case, depending on what the verdict is left solely up to the court. A lot of people have particularly strong opinions about punishment, whether it's too harsh, too light, things like that. The issue is you're not going to be able to consider that issue at all if you're selected as a juror. Your role is to determine whether the defendant has been proven guilty of the charges in the indictment. Is there anybody here that has such strong feelings about what the law is and what the law should be regarding sentencing that they could not follow the law and put that issue out of their minds? No hands, group 1, group 2, group 3. All right. Is there anyone here that has such strong feelings about the criminal justice system for one reason or another that they do not believe that or somebody that has such feelings about the criminal justice system that you think it would affect your ability to be a fair and impartial juror in this case and follow the law that the judge gives? Is there anybody here that has some type of strong feeling toward the court system that they feel they would not be able to follow the law that the judge gives in this case?
Is this just in general, or this
Correct. Yes, let's say if you're a juror, you're going to be required to follow the law that the judge gives. If you disagree with it or whatever, you have to follow the law that the judge gives. Is there anybody here that would not be able to do that? Okay. Juror 27. All right. Anybody? Oh, 29. Okay. Okay. 2 more questions. One, some people feel that it's wrong to sit in judgment of another. And what that means, a lot of people think that, for reasons, whether it be moral, philosophical, religious, or whatever, feel that they cannot sit in judgment of another person. Now, in this case, to sit in judgment is what it merely means is to listen to the evidence and the law and render a verdict as to whether the crimes have been proven in this case. So is there anybody here, though, that for whatever moral, religious, philosophical, or whatever reason, feel that they may not be able to sit in judgment and render a verdict in this case? Is there anyone here that has an issue with that? Okay. Juror 11. Thank you, sir. Okay. Group 2, Group 3. All right, last question. Is there anybody here who just really, really, really wants to serve on this jury? As expected, 0 hands. Okay. All right. All right. Thank y'all very much.
Mr. Kilgore?
All right, good afternoon. Again, I'm Maddox, and I'm getting to you now. It's 2:20, so we've been back from lunch for almost an hour, just in time for us to start getting maybe a little sleepy. So the good news is, with the last panel, I asked a lot of really, really good questions, because I heard them again from Mr. Boring today. So I don't have a lot of questions for you now. Mr. Boring did an excellent job covering most of the things that I needed to cover. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to do the same thing. I've got just a few questions, and I'm going to go panel by panel, okay? Just to give you an example, I started with 70 questions, and I think I probably only got 9 or 10. All right, the judge asked you, before Mr. Boring ever started asking questions, the judge asked if anyone had formed and expressed an opinion regarding the guilt or innocence of the accused. But what the judge indicated to you was expressed an opinion orally. She said that have you spoken? Have you said it to anybody? So by a show of hands, I need to know if anyone has formed and expressed an opinion, but expressed that opinion online, typed it out, Facebook, email, anything online. All right, going to go panel by panel. All right, panel number 1. All right, panel 2. All right, so bear with me. You would be number 15, okay. All right, and the row behind that, nobody? All right, and the third panel, let's see, you're the third one, so 27?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And if I miss anybody, particularly in the back, please just holler out. All right, this is kind of a corollary of the question that was already asked. What I want to know is, have your family members or close friends expressed an opinion to you about the guilt or innocence of Ross? Has a family member or close friend expressed an opinion to you? Okay. Panel 1. All right, so if you'll just keep your hands up real quick. Number 1, thank you. All right, number 6, 8, thank you. 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, thank you. All right, in the second group, on the first row, see this question. All right, 13, 14, 15.
Mr. Kilgore, would you slow down a minute for everybody? Court reporter, us, judge. Thank you.
Do you need me to slow down for you? Okay. 17, 18. Ma'am, you did not have your hand up, right?
I didn't.
Okay. All right. the next row then. Let's see, 19, 20, 21. '22? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So 23 and 24? All right, and then the third panel, I appreciate that. Your hand's up very high. All right, number 25, 26, 27? Okay. Thank you. Let's see, 28, 29, ma'am. Thank you. All right, and then in the back row, y'all are actually sitting on 2 rows. So 31. 33. 34. 35. Thank you so much. 36, and you've got long arms, sir. I can see you very well. Thank you. Okay. Has anybody Googled or researched or otherwise investigated any of us? And by that I mean any of the lawyers here or the judge. By any chance, has anybody done that? Looked our names up, looked the judge's name up, Googled it or anything? Yes, sir, thank you. And you are number 12. Okay. Okay, nobody on the second panel, and then on the third panel. Let's see. It's harder than it looks to count at a distance like this. All right, so you are 27. Thank you. All right, thank you. To the extent that Mr. Boring did not ask this specifically, I want to make sure that I've got anyone who has done any research that is Googled or looked up any criminal laws in Georgia, particularly laws about murder or cruelty or negligence or anything like that. I mean, if you've done it recently, not a decade ago. Has anybody done any legal research online recently? Anybody done that? No? Okay. All right. Is anyone familiar with any public service announcements, such as the Governor's Office Look Again campaign or anything like that, that reminds parents to look again or look in the back seat? Is anybody familiar with those type of public service announcements? All right, on the first panel. All right, if you just keep your hand up for just a minute. Okay, number 1. Number 7. Thank you, ma'am. Number 8. Number 12. Thank you, sir. All right, let's try this with the second panel then. Number 15. 17 and 18. Okay. All right, that next row. All right, nobody on that next row. And then the third panel. All right, thank you so much. 25. 27. All right, then I guess it's the back row. 1, 2, 3. Is it 33? All right, 33. 34? Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. All right. Is anybody familiar with websites that monitor child deaths in cars, such as kidsincars.org or noheatstroke.org? Is anybody familiar with those websites or websites like that monitor child deaths in cars? Anybody on panel 1? Okay. Panel 2? Panel 3? All right, thank you. All right, is anybody familiar, read about, heard about, seen online, any products to prevent parents from accidentally leaving their child in a car? Is anybody familiar with any products from auto manufacturers or car seat manufacturers, anybody, to help parents prevent that? All right, number 12. Thank you. Second panel? Nobody, all right, so nobody on the second panel. Then on the third panel, let's see, 1, 2, number 26. Okay. All right. We've got one more in the back. Is it 34? Okay, thank you, ma'am. All right, does anybody in here themselves or your spouse take affirmative steps to remind you that a child is in the back of the car, such as leaving your shoe in the back of the car, leaving a phone in the back of the car, anything like that? Does anybody in this group take those kind of affirmative steps, either you or your spouse? Panel 1, 2, 3. All right, aside from, I think all of you indicated that you'd heard stories about children left in cars. Aside from stories about children or public service announcements about children, has anyone heard specifically public service announcements about leaving pets in cars, not to leave your pet in a car, or don't forget your pet in a car? Has anybody heard those public service announcements? All right, so if you will just keep your hand up. All right, start on the first panel. All right, number 1, number 2, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, 8, 10, 11, and 12. All right, and panel 2, let's see, that'd be 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, the next row, 19, 20, 21. If I get your number wrong, holler out, okay? 22. 23. All right, and then the back row, big tall hand, 25. Thank you. 27. 29. 30. All right, 31. Sir, 32 is your hand up. Thank you. 33. 34. 35, 36. Thank you. All right, so most of you have indicated that you have at some time been responsible for transporting a child in a car seat. What I want to know is if any of you have, in purchasing a car seat, if any of you did any research before you made that purchase? Did any kind of research before purchasing a car seat? All right, first panel, number 3, number 12. Okay. All right, second panel, and 14. All right, the next row, oh, the third panel, number 25. It's 27. All right, and the back row would be all right. 32, is your hand up or not? I can't. All right, you giving me some sort of signal there? I'm all mixed up there.
No, I'm sorry, I'm getting something out of my eye.
Okay, sorry. All right, 33. And 34. Or is that 35? 35, okay, thank you. All right. Our kids kind of fall into 2 categories as far as car seats go. Those that go to sleep easily in a car seat and those who don't go to sleep in a car seat. What I want to know is if one or more of your children sort of fall in that first category where they fall asleep pretty easily as soon as you put them in a car seat. All right. Panel 1. Anybody? Yes, sir, number 11.
Current or when they were kids?
Yeah, when they were kids. Your grown children, not right. All right. And you're 11, right? All right. Thank you. Okay. Number 3 and 7, 8. All right. Second panel. All right, sir. And you are 17, 18, okay, 19, 20. Miss 20, is that the first time you've raised your hand for me?
Well, I think I raised it one other time.
All right. Then I've missed something, but we'll get it in individual questioning. All right. 2021.
Yeah, it was the divorce question.
Oh, I hadn't got to that question yet, but I'll circle back to that. I think they asked that question.
Okay.
All right. So in the third panel, 25. All right, Juror 25, if there was a prize for the hand held the highest, you would definitely receive it. That is much appreciated at my stature. All right, 27, 28, 29, 30. All right, 32? Okay, I got you. All right, 33. 34. It seems so impersonal, doesn't it? Just hollering out numbers. All right, 35. All right, thank you. I don't think that Mr. Boring covered this question. I'm assuming just about everybody, if you've been driving, eventually everybody gets a traffic ticket. What I want to know is if you've ever contested a traffic ticket. Instead of mailing your payment in with the ticket, you actually come to court and you contest it. You say, I don't think I was speeding or whatever. All right, so anybody in panel 1 ever contested a traffic citation? Okay. Number 6. Your hand went up real quick on that, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Anybody else on panel 1? No? All right. Panel 2. Panel 2, no. Panel 3. Okay. 25. Thank you. All right. Anybody else in the back? All right. So that's 1, 2. So it's 34? Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Has anybody ever had to hire an attorney? Panel 1, ever had to hire an attorney? All right, if you just keep your hands up, please. Number 3, number 1, number 5, number 7, number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, in panel 2. All right, if you just keep them up for me. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, okay, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. All right, and the last 2 rows, let's see, not a taker on this one, 25? No? All right, 26. Thank you, ma'am. 27. Okay, 31. 32. 33. 34. 35. Thank you. All right. This falls into the category of a little more personal. I need to know if anyone in your family or close friend or close coworker, family, friend, or close coworker has had an affair. All right, panel 1. Let's see, 47. Thank you. All right, number 1, I got you. Number 3, thank you. Number 6, number 8, 12. All right, panel 2. All right, so we're going to start with 13. Got 14, 15, 16, 17. So we go to 19, 20. 19, no. 20, yes. 22. 23. All right, and in the back row, let's see, we start with 27, 29, 31, 32, 34, and 35. All right, Mr. Boring did ask if anyone had been through a divorce, but there are divorces and then there are divorces. What I want to know about is if you've been through a contested divorce, not just where everybody agreed. I want to know if you've had to go to court and get lawyers and sort of fight it out. All right, panel 1. Okay, number 3. Thank you, sir. All right, panel 2 and panel 3. So that would be 31. So I've lost my place here. 31, right?
Yes.
And 35?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Again, none of this is meant to embarrass anybody or to pry into your life, but this is a subject that we do need to touch on. So I need to know is if you know if your significant other or your children ever view pornographic websites. Panel 1. Panel 2. All right. Let's see. That's 20. Okay. All right, and then the last panel, that would be 29. And 35. Mr. Bourne did a real good job covering sort of the basic use of technology and apps and that kind of thing, but there's one site in particular that I want to ask about if you have any familiarity with, and that is Reddit or reddit.com. I believe it's REDDIT. Two D's. REDDIT.com. Does anybody have familiarity with that? Panel 1. Let's see. All right, number 2. Okay. All right, second panel. And last panel, number 35.
You missed one.
Who'd I miss? Oh, okay. You are, what's your number, ma'am?
34.
30, so I got 34 and 35. Okay, thank you.
By that, do you mean that we actually use it, or that?
Just if you're familiar with it. Okay. Hang on a sec. 3, so I got 34 and 35. All right, ma'am, and are you 27?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, has anyone ever dealt with someone who they believe to be in a state of shock as a result of a trauma or traumatic event? Has anybody ever dealt with a person they believe to be in shock? All right, so if you'll just leave your hands up for me, please. Okay. All right, number 1, number 3, number 11 and number 12. Okay. And then on the second panel, number 13. Number 21. And in the last panel, okay, that's number 25. '26, 27, and 32. Did I miss anybody? All right, does anybody believe that they will be unable to sit as a fair and impartial juror where the evidence will include photographs of a dead child? Anybody believe that they're just going to be unable to sit as a fair and impartial juror where the evidence will include photographs of a dead child? And what I'm really asking is, are you going to be unable to look at that kind of evidence? That's what I need to know. All right, so starting with panel 1. All right, so number 6. Okay. Number, ma'am, are you 10? Okay, 10, 11, 12. All right, panel 2. Let's see, that would be 15. Did I get it right, ma'am? 15? Okay. And then the row behind that would be 21, 22, and then the row behind that is actually the third panel, starting with 25, 26. Got a lot of answers from you. No, 27. 26 and 27. Okay. Got a lot of answers from you, Miss 27. Thank you. And number 20. Let's see. Is it 29? 29. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. All right. And then in the back row, 31. 34. And 36. Same question I need to know is if anyone's going to be unable to sit as a fair and impartial juror where the evidence may include descriptions of how a child dies in a hot car. Does anybody believe they're going to be unable to sit and listen to evidence of those kind of descriptions so that they could not be a fair and impartial juror? All right, panel 1. Let's see, number 11. Thank you, sir. All right, panel 2. Bear with me if you just keep your hands up. Let's see, panel 2, so that would be 13, 14, 15. Thank you, ma'am. All right, in the row behind that, be 21. All right, and then the third panel, 25, 26, all right, 27, 29, and let's see, let me orient myself. You're number 30. Okay, 31. 34 and 36. Thank you. Does anybody believe that they will be unable to view they will be unable to sit as a fair and impartial juror where they will may have to view images of a graphic sexual nature. I may not have asked that very well. Does anyone believe they will be unable to sit as a fair and impartial juror where the evidence may include graphic sexual imagery? In other words, you don't think you can look at it. All right, panel 1. All right, number 12. I get going fast, I'm liable to make a mistake, so if I call out the wrong number, y'all stop me. All right, panel 2, panel 3. All right. Same question. Does anyone believe they will be unable to sit as a fair and impartial juror where they will have to hear evidence which will include graphic sexual language, not images, but language? All right, panel 1, panel 2, and panel 3. All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Council approach, Mr. Sharon. Kim, I don't, it's scheduled.
Please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a break and we're ready to resume jury selection. We're going to move now into the portion of the jury selection process that relates to individual voir dire or individual questioning. First, the state and then the defense will ask you one-on-one individual questions relating to the topics that I've already described for you. I expect they'll also fill out some of the information that they identified during their general and collective questioning. As you well know, if you don't understand something, ask for clarification. And if you find something to be in the nature of private, please let the lawyers know, and at the appropriate time, I'll create for you as private an environment as I can for that questioning. You can proceed, Mr. Boring.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon again. Basically how this is going to go as well, as I said before, we're going to start with juror number 1 in the box here. I'm going to ask you some individual questions, and then the defense is going to ask you individual questions. Then we'll move to juror number 2, and so on and so forth. So, juror number 1, I'll start with you. Okay, you are a practical nurse at Gateway?
I am.
Okay, and how long have you been working in this field?
I've been with Gateway I've been a nurse for 2 years.
Okay.
Graduated July was 2 years ago. And before that, I worked at the hospital. I was a patient care tech, so about 10 years.
Okay. So 10 years total you've worked in the, I guess, the medical field.
Yeah.
Okay. And has that been basically the majority of your professional career, or did you do something before that field?
Before that, I did accounting and bookkeeping.
Okay.
Data entry, things of that nature. Clerical.
And tell me a little bit about what Gateway does.
I work for the Gateway Unit here in Brunswick. It's an addiction and mental health facility is what we deal with mainly. We basically just get them in 10-13, or
Right.
they come in and we get them stabilized, and then we send them out either back to jail, or we try to find them long-term assistance.
Yes, sir.
Whatever they need.
All right. So you have you have supervisory duties right now, or you have in the past. Tell me about that.
Well, I've been management. I've managed for Circuit City for about 4 years. I was a supervisor for them, and was a charge of the front line training and hiring and firing on that end.
Okay.
And then I was also manager for Friendly Express.
All right. I believe you stated that you've known somebody who's been in the military before.
My nephew, he's in the Navy.
All right. Okay. I'm not going to expect you to name off everybody involved with the next one, medical field. Obviously, it's you and probably everybody you work with. Anybody else in your family that works in the medical field or anything like that? Any doctors, nurses, PAs, or anything other than the people you work with on a daily basis?
I have an aunt, Kathleen Twain. She's a RN. But and a cousin, Trinity Marrow, that works in the ER. But that's it.
All right. And you have, you also obviously know somebody that works in the field or has dealt with training and experience in the field of psychology, psychiatry, and counseling. Is that all through what you do for a living now, or something different?
Yeah, pretty much just through Gateway.
And have you ever worked in your capacity as a nurse in dealing with issues of child abuse or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay. Kind of moving on to bless you, technology and things of that nature. I believe you stated that in addition to using regular text messages, you use some type of applications to message via your phone, correct? And what do you like? What do you use?
Mostly just Facebook for me. I'm kind of prehistoric. Today's memes,
Yes, sir.
Twitter and all that. I don't know any of that, but
Yes, sir.
Facebook is primarily my go-to.
Okay. And I believe you stated you've known somebody who has, or you've communicated with somebody online that you did not know before?
Like yard sales, the
Yes, sir.
what is it, the Golden Isles yard sale thing that's on Facebook.
Oh, we've heard all about it. Yeah. Before today, yes, we heard all about it.
That and just just stuff like that, things for sale, things of that nature.
Okay. And you said that you use Facebook, and you said you don't use a lot of the other stuff, but let me just ask you if you know of these things. YouTube?
I've heard of it, and I have watched some. You kind of go to YouTube to see this video.
Okay.
But for the most part, very selectively.
Okay. How about Instagram?
I've never used it.
Okay. Craigslist?
I have Craigslist.
And what do you use that for?
Mostly, again, like when we've been looking for vehicles or furniture, things of that nature. We've looked for pets. That's on there.
All right. How about Twitter? You know of it, but you don't use it.
I've never used it.
Okay. They ask about Reddit. You've never used
never
Reddit.
heard of it.
Okay. How about Kik? K-I-K.
I've heard of it, but I didn't know what it was.
Okay. How about Backpage? Okay. Whisper, Scout, and Snapchat.
I've heard of Snapchat, but I've never engaged.
All right. I believe you stated that you've also given an opinion online or something of that nature.
Just things that would be like on my Facebook or like things from the Humane Society or different things. Little cute little images of animals and stuff,
Right.
Stuff like that. You like it or love it, or little inspirational type sayings, but
Okay.
usually just through friends on Facebook.
Yes, sir. I believe you stated that you've seen either a docudrama or a documentary or a podcast or something regarding the legal field. Tell me about that.
Well, mostly probably you had mentioned OJ, and that was something that was real big. What was it, Lacey?
Peterson?
Peterson.
Okay.
I remember that being.
I forgot about that.
My
Yeah.
mother was like fascinated with that, so I have to be too. So I think, I'm interested in stuff like that as I'm flipping through the channels, but
Okay.
I can't really recall anything specific other than
All right.
the high profile stuff.
Yes, sir. Okay, you stated that you, I think it's pretty obvious with your job, you've had the opportunity to take care of somebody that's been sick or disabled. I'm sure you do that on a daily basis at your job. Have you ever had to do that in a personal capacity, like a loved one or something like that?
My mom, she got double pneumonia actually about a year ago, and I had to take care of her, take some time off from work and take care of her. I've always been that kind of the caregiver, like, somebody was sick, I would gravitate towards them.
Yes, sir. So, and that person was coughing really bad in here earlier. Do you want to go sit by her? Not that much? Right.
I was just like, she needs a treatment, something.
All right. I believe you stated that you've known somebody who's been arrested before. Okay. Tell me about that.
My youngest brother, he is, you name it, he's done it.
Okay.
One of those type situations. Yeah, he's pretty lost.
Okay.
Drugs.
And I was about to ask, does that evolve from drug abuse and then it's kind of spiraled from there? Okay. And I know this is kind of, the charges in this case are kind of specific. Anything involving charges similar to what are charged in this case?
Oh, no.
Okay. I believe you've also given a statement to the police before.
When I was a manager for like Friend Express stores or even Circuit City, if I had theft issues, whether it be with an employee or a customer, I would have to, of course, give statements. And with Gateway, I do affidavits a lot when people come in and they want to do an affidavit to bring someone in.
Yes, sir.
So I have to deal with that.
You also, I believe you stated you've known somebody who has met somebody they have a relationship with online, either dating, sexual, whatever. Tell me about that.
I've got several friends that have met people online and gone on dates. I mean, I can't recall any marriages or anything like that, but it's just kind of the way of the world today.
It's like Match.com and all those things. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon.
Now, it was really funny. One of the prior panels we had, it seemed like all the younger people were in one panel and older people in one. I would fall in the older probably. And it was shocking. Like everybody knew somebody in this panel, and then the other people were almost like horrified, like what? So it's interesting to see the answers. Okay, I believe you stated you've seen or heard a public service announcement about leaving either children or animals or things like that in the car.
Believe it or not, more animals than children.
Yes, sir.
And it seems like as I've traveled through Florida, you'd see a lot more of that, like in Florida, than you do in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
That's just my opinion, but you see, it seems like the animal stuff you see a lot more, like it's commercialized more.
Yes, sir.
Like if you were walking by a window, if you break the window, you saw a dog in the back seat. I think I saw that one just a couple of days ago.
Sure.
But very effective.
And I think you stated also, probably within your job, I just want to make sure it's what we're talking about, that you've experienced or dealt with somebody who's been in shock. Okay, and like how so?
Well, when I worked at the hospital, they would come in, through the ER and they'd be in shock, or at Gateway it's very common because they're coming in and they're detoxing. We're on Librium detox or Clonidine detox and seizures, and I mean it can happen really quickly.
And is that something that's obvious to you if they're in shock?
You can see symptoms of it.
Okay. There were a couple of other things you raised your hand to that we'll talk about. We're going to talk about to everybody individually. Just one other thing. When you have some free time, if you have, well, actually, I'm sorry, as I was saying earlier, attorneys are bad at estimating and saying things. So two things. Do you follow the news? Are you a big news follower? And when you do figure out that when you do watch the news, where do you get your news from? Newspaper, TV, local, national?
Usually AOL, or I do look at the newspaper. I don't have a whole lot of time to watch TV. Or word of mouth, someone will say, "Oh God, did you hear about such and such?" And then you go look for it, But I'm not real big on the news.
All right. And finally, when you do have free time, what type of hobbies do you like to do? What type of things do you like to do when you do have free time?
I love landscaping. Animals. I love animals. I have a lot. That takes up a lot of my time. Aquariums, that kind of thing. That's pretty much it. I mean, I work a lot, so.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, I'm going to pick up where Mr. Boring left off, talking about your free time. You've mentioned animals with Humane Society several times, and I know they absolutely can take up a lot of time and energy.
And money.
That's the truth. So I gave my wife a Chihuahua for her birthday, and it cost me $10 at the Humane Society. But 2 weeks later, it cost me $1,500 to have a hip replaced on the dog. So, yeah, they can cost money. So, what kind of animals primarily do you have that you care for?
Pekingese I love Pekingese. I have 3 Pekingese and a pug.
Okay, so you're a dog guy.
Yeah, I love dogs.
Okay. Other than caring for your animals, can you tell us what are the things you may do in your free time? I think you mentioned gardening.
But working in the yard, landscaping, yeah.
Okay. What about clubs or organizations or meetings or anything involving other people?
I used to work at the Humane Society. It's been several years back. I would go and help out some there, but I'm just a homebody these days. I've been meaning to get back involved in activities because I do feel better than I do, but I'm not currently. Your work is probably pretty stressful on occasion. It is. I mean, you're there, 12-hour shifts, and that's if the person comes in that's supposed to come in, or someone's not being intaken when it's time for you to leave because you can't leave. So you're mentally, not so much physically, but just mentally absolutely exhausted some days. So I just don't want to go to bed. You mentioned having dealt with people in shock, and being a nurse, that's hardly a surprise. But I want to make sure I understand what you're talking about. Are you talking about someone whose body is in physical shock? As opposed to physical symptoms of shock. Okay. As well as, shock, believe it or not, it can be it's different for different people depending on the incident or the occurrence. So it could be from a catatonia perspective to just more of a physical. But of course, the physical is what we've got to work with because that's going to keep them alive. You know, we have to keep
Right.
them alive. So it's kind of subjective, I guess.
When you say catatonia, what do you mean by that?
Just unresponsive. But there's the physical aspect of it's always there.
Okay.
Clammy skin, the pupils, you know, shaking.
Right. And you say it's different.
In
Different for
my
different people.
experience, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Do you consider yourself, being in the field that you're in, do you consider yourself a details guy or more of a big picture guy?
I'm definitely more detail oriented.
Tell me why you say that.
I'm very systematic in my process, the way I do things. I try to, as a practical nurse, you oftentimes, you're a practical nurse, so you just kind of do things in that same systematic process. You kind of keep it black and white, in a sense. And just and there's a method, like a process that you stick to, and to me that's detail oriented.
Process that has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Exactly. And there's going to be issues at times, but for the most part, there's a process.
Okay. Are you
I'm
ever?
accountable for that.
You haven't really told us exactly sort of what the day-to-day part of the work is, but are you ever in a situation where you are the first line or front line where you must do the assessment and triage and kind of make a decision about what's going on?
We have a family practitioner at Gateway that does that. We as the nurses just kind of go by the doctor's orders.
Okay.
If you're in the med room, like for instance, if you're assigned to the med room that day, then you're responsible for all their medications and anything that changes, transcription, blood work, all of that. If you're out on the floor, you're just more, you do the assessments and little things like that. But in my capacity, I don't I just go by what the family, the FHP tells us to do, basically.
Nonetheless, you have to pay attention to detail in doing what you do.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is life and death. You can't, I mean, you have to know that if I give this medication and this blood pressure's below a certain level or above a certain level, then I could cause a stroke. So I guess you do have a lot of autonomy there because you have to catch it. You have to catch it then before it's administered and then question it. So, yeah, that's a really big deal.
Okay, thank you. Real quick to kind of circle back to the technology, excuse me, and social media that you were being asked about. Facebook is kind of your primary social media, basically your only social media. And you indicate you do some posting, meaning you from your Facebook page or whatever, you may put an article, a link to an article into Facebook, or you may upload an image to Facebook.
Yeah.
You do that
Yes,
occasionally?
Usually it's something that's in my feed that I like an inspirational saying, and
Okay.
I'll share it with other people.
Okay.
I don't really upload stuff and put it on mine. That's just not, I
You're
don't
just-
put
you're
my
forwarding
daily
something.
life, you know, little pictures.
Right.
And today at work, I ate a taco. That's not my process.
Yeah.
But,
Those friends will drive you crazy, won't they? Yeah. I mean, tacos are good, but I don't need to know every time you eat one. Yeah.
But, hello. But it's mostly just liking or sharing.
Right.
I don't put my personal business on Facebook.
Okay. A lot of people do, however, post in addition to images of family and their pets, or whatever, they post articles or they post stories or sometimes they post videos. Do you ever get those? Do you ever get those into your feed and then follow the follow the link to the source to read an article?
Yeah.
Okay. What about videos?
Sometimes.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned your younger brother had lots of troubles. Is he somebody you're close to?
No.
Okay.
We're about 10 years apart in age, and he was actually, I was raised by my maternal grandparents, and he was with my mother. And I mean, we're not close at all. And when I've tried, I've either been stolen from or, something bad. So,
Okay.
I don't really trust him, so I just keep him at a distance.
Have you ever been in a situation before y'all became estranged? Were you ever in a situation where you had to help him out, either with money for a lawyer or bail or anything like that?
Never stuff like that. Food or maybe something for his children.
Okay.
Gas, stuff like that.
Okay. All right, and you mentioned, let's see. Yeah, the way that I had asked the question you responded to about public service announcements, excuse me, you responded that you were familiar with public service announcements such as the governor's Look Again campaign reminding parents to double check their car for children. When do you think you may have heard those type of public service announcements, and from what source?
Probably at cable, just in passing. I don't have children, so I don't, like with the whole car seat situation and stuff, I've maybe had a car seat in my car 2 or 3 times in my life when I had my nephew or my, somebody with me, but as bad as it sounds, it's almost like the animal stuff kind of catches my attention more somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds bad, but so I can tell you more about the animal parts than the children ones, like leaving a shoe in the back seat. I've never heard of that, or leaving a cell phone in the back seat. I can see how that method would work, but in answer to your question, I guess it's just maybe on the radio or on the TV.
Okay. Is it fair to say you're just generally aware of those type of public service announcements, but you don't have any specific recollection?
Right.
Okay. You indicated that, I believe you indicated that either you or a spouse had to hire an attorney. Is that something that you can tell us about?
I did. Several years back, I had a bankruptcy, so I had to hire an attorney for that.
Okay, and just to follow up on the legal shows, you specifically indicated you had seen possibly some legal documentaries or legal shows, such as following the O.J. Simpson trial or the Lacey Peterson. Do you watch any legal talk shows or the commentary type shows on legal topics or trials, current event trials?
Like I said, my mother loves that kind of stuff. She lives for it. And that was back when I was staying with her, you know, when she was sick, that we were watching all of that. But for me, for the most part, no.
Okay, I think there's one thing that will, follow up with you in private, but right now, that's all I have for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So juror number 2, you were born in France?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were your parents in the military, or was it just you immigrated to the United States after being born?
From France.
Okay. And how long have you been in the United States?
13 years.
Okay. So you're a United States citizen, correct? Okay. And how long have you actually been out of high school?
This year, I graduated this year.
This spring?
Okay.
Well, the world's wide open. What do you want to be when you grow up? No idea yet.
There's too many options.
I agree. I changed majors a ton of times, and I'm doing nothing related to what my major was. So, yeah, just keep an open mind. All right. So, when you moved from France, did you move to Glenn County?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been here since. Now, you stated you've known somebody who's in the military.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, my grandpa was in the Navy,
Okay.
and my great-grandpa was in World War II.
All right. Now, you've answered, I think you started raising your hand finally when we got to technology and familiarity. So you stated that you use messaging on your phone with something other than just plain old texting.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me what type of apps you use.
Snapchat. To message or just social media in general?
Well, let's just start with messaging right now, then we'll talk about social media.
Snapchat. That's about it. Instagram sometime.
Okay.
Twitter almost never.
Okay.
Facebook, I don't use that anymore.
So I guess some of those social media things you can actually message back and forth.
Yeah.
Right, okay. All right. Now, in that vein, I guess you stated that you talked to somebody online that you've never met before. Okay, and tell me in what context.
Well, I had a French class in high school, and in that we had pen pals.
Okay.
So I wrote to pen pal in France, back and forth every week.
And that was on a computer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's back when I had Facebook.
Right. It may be hard to believe, but we used to have our pen pals, we'd have to handwrite it out on a piece of paper and mail it. That's like unheard of now, I guess.
It's more like a keyboard pal now.
Okay. All right. You've actually posted an opinion or given an opinion online before?
Yeah, I've commented on pictures.
Like on Facebook or other social media types?
Instagram, mostly.
Okay, you heard me talking about those different types of social media with juror number 1. Let me go through that again. Like Facebook, you've used it before, you're familiar with it, but you don't use it anymore. Okay. How about YouTube? And what do you use YouTube for?
Videos, that's what it's used for.
Like music videos, how-to videos, or everything?
Music videos, I usually listen to my music on YouTube.
Okay. It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right, you said you use Instagram. Okay, how about Craigslist?
I've never used it, but I've been on it.
Okay. Twitter?
Yeah, I use that.
And do you post stuff on Twitter, or do you just follow people, or kind of both?
Yeah, no, I just look at funny pictures, funny videos.
Okay, and how about Reddit?
I know what Reddit is. I've been on it a couple times, but that's about it.
Okay. Kick, K-I-K?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Okay, how do you know that?
Well, I don't know. It's before all those direct message things. Kick was like the app where instead, if you didn't have iMessage. You just download Kid like on an iPod or something.
Was that something a lot of teenagers did, like when you were younger?
I never did it,
But a lot of other teenagers did that?
I guess.
Okay.
It was big.
All right. Backpage, Whisper, Scout, and you told me about Snapchat. I believe you stated that you've watched, or you either watch or have had some, like to follow legal television shows.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, which ones are you fan of, or that you like the most?
Law and Order, I've watched, but not really court shows, but criminal shows, like Criminal Minds,
Mm-hmm.
Bones, this goes on.
Okay. Bones, they do some pretty amazing things on there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you understand? Okay, everybody here, we understand. It's fiction, right? Yeah. Are you going to expect us to do all of the stuff that they do on Bones?
No, I
Okay.
don't expect to see too many dead bodies.
All right. Yeah, I remember one episode where they're like a corn maze, and it's just.
It's all about skeletons. That's
Yeah.
what I've seen.
All right. You also watch, or you followed legal documentaries or docudramas, or you listen to podcasts. Any of those that I named, or any different ones that you followed in particular?
I've watched Making of a Murder or something.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched documentaries on back when I took forensic science in high school. I watched a lot of documentaries on Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer, and a lot of serial killers.
All right. And was Making a Murder. Did you get through the whole season? Did you
I
watch
watched the first episode.
the first episode?
Yeah.
Did you lose interest after that?
Kind of.
Okay. And was this something where, did you ever go do any independent research to verify whether the way they were portraying it was accurate or not? Or have you ever read anything about that?
I mean, I've done my research on some serial killers. Like back when I took forensics, I made a projects on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I've dabbled in it all as well.
Okay. Did you have any, you've only watched one episode, so do you have any particular opinion of how that show, if it had an agenda or not?
I can't tell. I can't really recall what the first episode was about.
Okay. All right, I believe you stated that you volunteered with kids before?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about that.
I had a girlfriend that worked at a daycare church on the island, and I'd go there every Sunday and help out.
Okay.
My aunt had a newborn a few years ago, and I helped out with that.
I believe you also worked in a paying capacity with kids?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I think you've also cared for somebody who's either been sick or disabled or something of that nature?
My dad, he had surgery a few years ago, and I helped him with that.
Okay. All right. Now, you said you've had a bad experience with law enforcement. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that was my question, like, whether it was like the officer that was bad, or for me it was just bad. I mean,
Okay.
it wasn't the officer, it was me. Like, I got a speeding ticket and I wasn't too pleased about it, so.
Do you believe you're treated fairly by the police?
Yeah.
Were you afraid you're going to get in trouble with your parents?
My parents, actually, I never told my parents because I paid for the ticket. That's when I had a job. So I paid for the ticket, and they didn't know about it until actually like a few weeks ago.
Okay. So I would advise you not to tell your parents your juror number. Okay. So then they can't identify you. All right. I believe you stated you've known somebody who's been arrested before.
Yeah, friends.
Okay. And just generally, what types of crimes?
DUIs. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's probably when we ask these questions, almost that seems to be the general. Almost everybody, that's what their answer is, something related to that.
Teenager thing.
Yes, sir. It's not just a teenager thing. Trust me. This is something a lot of people deal with. So, let's see. You've also given a statement to the police before.
Yeah, I've gotten my bike stolen twice.
Okay. And were you ever riding the bike at the time it was stolen, like you got robbed or anything like that?
It was during the day and overnight.
Okay. I believe you stated you've known somebody, I mean, you're younger too, so people that have dated online or met somebody that they've become involved with online.
Friends.
And you've never taken a child to daycare in a car, correct?
No.
Well, you got some other questions about kids in cars and things like that we're going to take up in private. So let me, I guess, just close out by what do you like to do in your free time? What are your hobbies and
I
such?
like running, playing soccer, and hanging out with friends.
All right, thank you, sir.
Hey, I did not catch why your family moved over here from France. Did you tell us about that?
My dad had a job offering, just moved here.
Just moved for work.
Yeah.
All right, so if that was 13 years ago, then you were still in elementary school at the time, right?
I was just starting. When I came here, I went in first grade.
Okay. Did you know English when you came?
Nah.
Did not?
We weren't supposed to stay. We were supposed to be there for like a few months, maybe a year, and then
Really?
go back. Yeah, but I guess they liked it here.
Okay. You go back and visit any?
Yeah, I've gone. I used to go every other year, but I haven't gone now in like 3 or 4 years.
Okay. When you go back, it's to see family, or you keep up with your friends over there?
No, I lost all my friends when I moved here. Family still lives up there.
Okay. All right. So if I understand the technology that you, or the sort of online presence that you have, it sounds like it's primarily Instagram.
Snapchat.
Snapchat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Instagram is really just for when I'm bored, I'll just look at people's pictures. I don't socialize on Instagram.
Okay. But you socialize on Snapchat?
Yeah.
All right. Does Snapchat allow messaging, private messaging between two people? It does. Okay. Is that what you primarily use it for? All right. Can you upload images like you can on Instagram?
Yeah, but the thing with Snapchat is it only lasts 24 hours.
Okay.
You can either choose to send a picture out on your story, which is like so everyone can see it, or just to specific people. And once they see the picture, it's gone.
Okay. How often during the day do you check your Snapchat app?
Anytime I get a notification.
Okay. And how often do you yourself load something or send something?
Send something to someone specific is, every day, but it's just a chat. But if I'm putting something for everyone else to see, almost never.
Okay. All right. Mr. Bourne asked you about sort of what you did in your free time. So I want you to think real hard, and including clubs and activities when you were still in school. What, if we wanted to know about you, tell us about the organizations, clubs, teams, sports, the things you participate in.
Play soccer for GA, cross country. I was in the foreign language club.
Okay. And you just finished this past May, just a couple of months ago.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any plans to leave the island and go away to school?
Yeah, I'm taking my core classes at Coastal
Okay.
and then transfer out somewhere.
so are you still living at home with mom and dad right now? Okay. All right, so you heard what I asked the juror next to you, whether or not he was a detail-oriented person or kind of a big picture person. How would you classify yourself?
You know, I guess it depends. Sometimes I like to look at the details. Sometimes I don't.
Okay. Got any examples that come to mind?
School-wise, I look at details.
Mhm.
Chores at home, I don't.
That's good. That's good. It's a good example. So the chores is just sort of the big picture, is just getting it done
Yeah.
as quickly
Quickly
as possible.
Efficient.
Okay.
Efficiently as possible.
But at school, you're more detail oriented in that you have to take your time,
Yeah.
pay
That's my
attention,
fault.
look at everything. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
All right, so I caught part of what you were talking about reading up on serial killers. I'm not really sure that I understood what the context was there. Was that for some kind of class that you were taking?
Forensic science.
Forensic science? Okay. Do you have some particular interest in that outside of school? Meaning, is that something you want to study in college or have a career in?
Fascinating, but I just look at it more of a hobby. Something I want to do.
You watch any of those forensic TV shows?
Yeah.
The true crime type, like Forensic Files. Don't watch any of those. See, you indicated you watched some of the fiction shows like Law and Order, Criminal Minds, and Bones. All right. You don't watch any of the legal talk shows, do you? All right. I asked you about Reddit. You indicated you were familiar with Reddit. You ever used it to access an article or a video or a story, post, anything?
Guess so, maybe. Never been a one-time thing.
You just don't have any specific recollection?
No.
Okay. When you mentioned researching or investigating penalties in Georgia, was that in the context of the class that you were talking about, the forensic class? I believe that you were asked if you had either Googled or researched or investigated penalties of Georgia for certain criminal offenses. Did you mention that? You did not mention that? Okay. I just had it written down incorrectly then. Okay, that's all I've got. Thank you.
All right, juror number 3.
Sir.
I've seen how this goes, so you kind of know the drill. Maybe you're probably going to know where I'm heading before I head there. Okay, so starting out, you do private caretaking for elderly at this
Yes,
point,
sir.
correct? Okay, and how long have you worked in that field?
Private care, I've been 2 years, and pretty much the elderly, maybe 10, 15 years.
And before that, what did you do in working with the elderly?
Okay. Also, I was part of the military. I've been in the military for
Okay.
10 years. And before that, in Lincoln, Nebraska, owned and operated a daycare center for like 12 years.
Okay, so military, then operated a daycare center.
Yeah.
Then you
and
moved-
back in the military.
Okay.
Whatever, so.
Okay, well, I can go ahead and jump to that. Then what branch of the military were you in?
Army.
Okay, thank you for your service. And was that both times you were in the Army?
Right.
Both, yeah, before and
Yeah,
after?
yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And you have 2 boys, 19 and 20?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now you, I believe you stated that you know a criminal defense attorney or somebody who has practiced criminal defense before?
Yeah, my boss is an attorney.
Okay.
I guess he's he talked about criminal, and I think he's a political attorney.
Okay, and what's his name?
Washington, D.C. James Abley.
I'm sorry.
Abley.
Abley. I ask these questions like I know who's going to be. We're not from here anyway, but all right. James Abley. All right. And you obviously had a long career, different types of things. At some point, you've had the opportunity or duty to supervise others and to hire and fire.
Right, with child care center.
Okay. And I guess what's the most the biggest number of employees you've actually had to supervise before?
3.
Okay. All right. And when you were in the military, did you have any particular specialty?
Just whatever they gave us, I guess.
Yes, sir. Okay. I believe you stated you've known somebody who's had legal training or something in the legal field before. Is that anybody other than Mr. Abley?
And then I got friends in the military.
Okay.
I still do.
They've had some type of legal training and things of that nature. You've also, people who work in the medical field
Right.
or medical fields.
I worked at Nurse's Edge for the private care, so there's a lot of nurses and RNs and LPs and CNAs there.
Okay. And as far as psychology, psychiatry, and counseling, you know people who've worked in that field before?
Right, I'm also going to school for psychology.
You've gone to school for psychology?
Right.
Okay.
Military's paying.
All right. You're not going to psychoanalyze us, are you?
Right.
Okay. I don't think you want to get in our heads. Okay, how about criminology?
I'm sure that's part of Jim Abley with.
All right. I believe you stated you attend a church
Right.
or a religious institution. Okay, where do you go?
St. Simon's Community Church.
Okay. Now, moving on to some of the technology stuff and social media, things of that nature. You communicate or have communicated via messaging other than texting before, correct?
Right.
Okay, what type of apps have you used?
I use Facebook, and then that's pretty much it. And then for school, they force us to use, like, sign up for Instagram and Twitter.
Okay.
School.
All right. Kind of on that note, I'm going to read off this list of social media type things and see if you've heard of them and how you've heard of them. YouTube. I think everybody's heard of that. Do you use it regularly?
I use it for music and then go-to things, how-to.
Okay. All right. How about Craigslist?
I purchased a vehicle for my son on it one time.
Okay. Twitter, you already told us. How about Reddit?
Never heard of it.
Kik, K-I-K.
I've heard of it through the teenagers.
Through your sons?
Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
Okay. And was this recently or something when they were younger? If you remember.
Maybe a year or 2 ago. I'm not sure.
All right. How about, have you ever heard of Backpage? Okay. And just the court reporter is taking it down. So. All right. Whisper,
No, sir.
Scout,
No, sir.
and Snapchat.
I have it on my phone.
Okay. Yeah. it really is getting annoying now, because when you have kids that are younger, my 9-year-old wants to constantly get on the thing and make stupid faces and send them, and it's just, anyway.
It's kind of nice because my son set it up for me. They're friends, so when they do stupid things, I get to find out.
Oh, great. Okay, well, that worked out well.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of, now it's annoying to me when my son does all that consistently, and I'm afraid of what he's going to do when he gets older,
I'm
so.
not checking anymore.
All right. Okay, you stated that you've engaged in conversation online with somebody you've never met before.
Right.
Okay, tell me
Also,
about that.
I was part-time, I do a networking business.
Okay.
Online, and we got this program to where they're expanding out to Singapore and Malaysia.
Yes, sir.
So basically what I do is I contact people in Singapore and Malaysia every day. And I talk to them.
And what is that networking for? Like the
Keep
stuff
on
that you
to
do?
help the product business, and just they're expanding into Singapore, so.
Okay. Also, as far as legal TV shows, like fictional, non-fictional, things like that, you watch that type of stuff?
Yeah, I watch the Icon channel. CSI, the original. Like that.
All right. Okay, and how about any legal documentaries or docudramas or podcasts?
This is the O.J. Simpson thing, and whatever the Icon channel is. Maybe sometimes forensic science or files.
Forensic Files? Or,
Yeah, the TV program.
Now, you stated, I think, that you followed a criminal case before, like either in the media, in courtroom, or just in the news.
Just in the news. And my boss, his sister tried to kill him.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so I followed that. He kind of told me, so.
Was that here?
Yeah, here in Brunswick.
Okay. How long ago was that?
A couple of years ago.
Okay. Do you know if it's resolved? Is it over?
Yeah, she spent 15 months in jail and now getting half the money.
Okay. Okay. You volunteered with kids before?
Yes, sir. What daycare, worked with daycare, got paid for that. And then when my boys are grown up, sports, coaching for football and wrestling,
Okay.
and Boy Scouts.
You said you've had the opportunity to care for people who may be sick or disabled other than children. Is that what you're talking about, just with everything that we've already discussed, or something different?
Right, that, and then also my son, he got in a car accident, so
Okay.
care for him.
Now, you've had a good experience with law enforcement before?
Yeah, I was in Florida speeding, getting all the, I guess there was a lot of mosquitoes in my car, so I decided to speed, try to get them out. I got pulled over.
It's novel.
Yeah, and so I was married at the time, and he told me if I would buy my wife a nice dinner, he would let me go. So I paid for the ticket instead. No, I'm just kidding. So he let us go.
All right.
And I bought her dinner.
All right. Now, did he tell you to go to a specific place for dinner, and did he know any family members that worked there? Just kidding.
Maybe, right?
Right. Okay, I believe you stated you've known somebody who's been arrested before?
Military DUIs,
Okay.
wrestling. Some kids that graduated through wrestling,
Mhm.
Brunswick County, been arrested for drugs.
Okay. Okay. I believe you said you've known somebody who's been court-martialed before, or been subject to proceedings or something?
Through the military.
Okay. And were those people who were in the military too?
Right.
With you? Okay. I believe you've given a statement to law enforcement before. Like either.
Yeah. For some reason, people like to rob me. I was been robbed 6 times since I came to Brunswick.
And how long have you been in Brunswick?
Maybe, let's see, so about 7, 8 years.
Okay. All right. Sorry to hear that.
That's all right, whatever.
And when you robbed, are these all like robbed? Like some people use robbed, and
My
it's
car's been robbed, my apartment's been
okay.
robbed.
Have you been present physically when any of these happen, like held up at gunpoint or like?
No.
Okay.
I wish I was.
All right. Yeah, were the perpetrators on any of these occasions caught?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right. I believe you stated that you've had to report a suspicion of child abuse before.
Right, with my child care.
Yes, sir. Okay.
You have a child that would do some stuff, like just do some bad stuff, like pee on the floor, and maybe figure that was problems. And then went to his mom didn't pick him up, so I went to his house and there's no food, but nice TVs, and took us a day to find out where she was. So
Understand. I believe you've known somebody who's dealt with the sudden passing of a child.
Right, in the military. I know the worst one was we was at just a little get together, and somebody's mom got a phone call while, she as part of the shock. She just got a call that her son was got killed.
And if you remember, how old was her son at the time when she got that call?
He wasn't in the military, so he was a teenager.
Okay.
He was killed in a car accident.
I believe you stated you've known a homicide victim as well.
Right. I didn't know if Jim Abley counted.
Okay.
Because that's not. And then in the child care business, we had this guy. It was a father. He was abusive to his wife and kid, and he was a drug dealer. So we knew him when he got shot and killed in his driveway for bad drugs.
You've known somebody who's done online dating before, or met somebody and been in a relationship with somebody they've met online before?
Yeah, through work. Have all these nurses talking how they're dating these guys.
Okay. Let's see, and you've been through a divorce before?
Right.
Okay. And yours was contested?
Right.
Okay. All right. I think we'll have to take a couple of issues up. Obviously, with everybody, we're going to have to take a couple up individually. But before that, if you have free time, hobbies, what do you like to do?
Basically, work out, run, lift weights. That's about all the time I have to do.
All right. Thank you, sir.
If I understand correctly, you're a private caretaker?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and currently you care for one family or one individual?
Yes, sir.
All right.
The father passed away in June. The guy was taken care of, but he keeps me on the payroll
Okay.
to do other things for him. So,
All right. You're not living on their property?
no, sir.
Okay. All right, but you also told us that you had worked in daycare settings.
Yes, sir.
Tell us when you did that.
I guess that would be about 2000. Well, I started around 2001.
Okay.
And then my wife at the time started it maybe 1996.
All right, how long did you do that kind of work?
About 12 years.
All right, so to make sure I understand, did you work for a company?
We created it ourselves.
Okay. You owned a business that was a child care business?
Right.
And was that here in the islands?
No, sir. It was in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Lincoln, Nebraska. Why did you decide to get out of that business?
Well, we decided to move up here.
Okay.
Get away from the weather, the snow.
All right. Did you have to have any sort of licensures through the state in order to open that kind of business?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you have to undergo certain training to provide those kind of services?
The state gave us training to go through.
Okay. You had to go.
Classes and stuff like that.
Okay. Had to go to classes. All right. Do you ever remember? Did any of your? Did you have a van or a bus or any?
Right. We had a 15-passenger van.
15-passenger van. All right. As part of your training or the classes that you took, were you ever trained on mechanisms to double check your van or your vehicles to make sure that you had not left a child in there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That was part of the curriculum?
Yes, sir.
And did you incorporate that into what you did daily if you were ever transporting children?
All the time.
Okay. What would you do?
Head count.
Make sure you had everybody.
Right.
Make sure you
had a list, and then everybody got their van.
And I believe that you told us your children are 19 and 20.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at the time that you were working at the daycare, they would have been elementary school age, perhaps?
Right.
All right.
Very young. And that's one of the reasons. So the moms got to stay home
Right.
instead of paying for childcare.
Did you the things that you learned in being trained through the state of Nebraska to get that licensure to open that daycare center? Did you incorporate any of that into your own parenting?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you incorporate the part about looking in the back of your vehicle, double checking to make sure that you got your own children out of your personal vehicles?
Absolutely.
It was just something you did.
Absolutely.
It was a habit, part of your routine.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I take it you didn't have to do anything intentional like leave a shoe in the back or a phone or anything like that, because for you were trained to do it and it was already a habit.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There's a child in the car.
Right. Right. Yeah, somebody else had mentioned the ID channel. I think my TV has that at home. I've never watched it. What kind of shows are on there?
Deadly Women.
Deadly Women?
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Okay.
My boys keep telling me I need to stop watching that. I'll never get there. That's just whatever's on. I mean, usually like Deadly Women.
Okay. I'm debating here, do I follow up with that or not? I'm assuming that's a show about women who kill.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. And same question that I asked the other gentleman. Big picture guy or
Yes.
detail guy?
Big picture guy.
Why do you say that?
I usually see the big picture of something and then find out the details to work that project.
Find out the details what?
To work that project.
Do you have an example that comes to
I
mind?
just recently had this lady that wants to do a transportation business for the elderly. And I said, all right, so that was the big picture. And basically what I did is work the details to see, get that going. So
Okay.
maybe in May or something like that, we're gonna work that out.
See, you didn't answer too many questions that I asked. Let's see if I need to follow up on any of them. All right, you indicated that you had in fact done research on car seats before y'all purchased when your children were younger?
Yes, sir, my wife
Okay. Internet?
did. Yes, internet
Okay.
catalogs.
I remember back in the day, do we even really have catalogs anymore? I can remember as a kid, at Christmas time, we'd get these big old thick catalogs, you know.
Sears catalog?
Yeah, Sears catalog or whatever. I mean, we'd spend, a month looking over that thing, and kids miss out on all that now.
Circle them and didn't get
Yeah. I never did get that Rock'em Sock'em Robots. All right. A couple other things that you answered yes. You said at least one of your children fell asleep pretty easily being put in the car seat.
Pretty much, not my children, but just with childcare. We have so many children that I just know that some of them fell asleep.
It's not uncommon.
Correct.
You mentioned that you or your spouse had to hire an attorney. Is that something you can tell us about?
That was for the divorce.
Okay. And I don't recall, did you indicate that yours was a contested divorce or not?
Yes, sir, it was.
Did you have to have a trial?
Not really. It was all more in the mediation room.
Okay.
So
It was contested.
for child custody. So
All right. You let basically the lawyers work it out, and y'all didn't have to go before the judge.
we
And
just went through like the judge maybe twice.
Okay.
At the beginning, we went in front of the judge.
Would you classify that or categorize that experience as, one that y'all tried to work together to get it worked out and just couldn't?
Yeah, she didn't want it, so
Okay.
I actually won. We got custody of my 2 boys. So.
Okay, so you filed.
Right.
Okay. You also raised your hand that you knew someone, family, friend, or coworker who had an affair. Is that something you can tell us about?
My ex-wife, that's
Okay.
one. And then being in the military, I see it all the time.
All right, and you answered that you had dealt with people who appeared to be in shock as a result of a sudden trauma. Was that in your capacity as a private caregiver?
That was after a get-together for the military, and a lady just got a call from her.
Got it. How long ago was that, by the way?
That would have been in 2008.
Do you know her well?
Just a friend, not really well. She just got the call collapsed right in front of us. So.
Let's see, I think. Yeah, we got to talk to you about something else in private, but that's all I have now. Thank you.
Good afternoon. All right, Juror 4, you are a registered nurse, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and how long have you worked as a registered nurse?
36 years.
Okay. So I assume that's probably the entirety of your professional career, correct?
Correct.
All right. And your spouse works for, okay, what do you call it, the acronym?
Flexi.
FLETC, okay. Yeah, I think most of the people who know the place and actually have people involved there call it FLETC, but it seems like other people in the community call it Fleet Tech as well. Do you hear that? Okay. Okay. You said that sounds like the official is FLETC, okay. All right. Let's see. And your husband, I assume before he went to FLETC, was he in law enforcement and things of that nature?
He was, well, his degree is in business, But through the years, he ended up, his job before that was Assistant Director of Victims Assistance here
Okay.
in this court system
Okay. And how long ago when did he leave that job?
5 years ago.
Okay. All right. I believe you stated that you know a criminal defense attorney or attorneys?
Well, from the DA's office here.
Okay.
And then the ones that were here then are no longer in that capacity here, and now they practice on their own.
Okay. All right. So I guess under a previous district attorney's administration and things like that?
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. So when you said you know people in the court system, it's from that same type of thing?
Right, and then Judge Stephen Kelly's a friend of ours.
Okay. Now, as you probably figured out by now, none of those people, none of the Glenn County people are really involved in this case. So anything about those relationships that would affect your ability to be fair and impartial to both sides. All right, thank you. Okay, you've had the opportunity to supervise people in the past? And now? Okay. And about how many people, what's the most you've supervised and how many do you supervise now?
Well, I was a nurse manager for 18 years.
Okay.
And I had up to 70 during that time. And now I'm a director over 9 different areas. And I have other managers under me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's less than 10 direct. But if you looked at the whole picture.
Kind of breaking it down like that, yeah.
It's probably a couple hundred.
Okay. When you say 9 different areas, do you mean different areas of the...
At the hospital.
Okay. And it's one general hospital?
Actually, we have another hospital in Camden.
Okay, because it's Southeast Georgia Health System. I didn't know if it was different hospitals. Okay.
Right.
All right. And you currently have the ability to hire and fire?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, aside from your husband's, I guess, involvement with law enforcement, do you know anybody else in law enforcement? I would imagine from his job and things of that nature, know a ton of people. And also, you stated that you've known somebody that's had legal training or people that are familiar with the legal field. Are those the people you've already talked about or somebody different?
Same thing.
Okay. I hesitate to even ask who you know in the medical field. I guess probably everybody you see on a daily basis.
A lot.
Okay. Do you have any family members that are also working in the medical field? Is it a nurse, PA, doctor, things like that?
I do. I have cousins that are nurses out in Texas. I have a cousin that is a physician in Las Vegas.
Okay. I can only imagine what that person sees. Does that family member work in the ER?
He's OB/GYN.
Okay. All right. I'll move on. All right. So you also know people that are in the, I guess, the IT field, computers, technology, things like that?
Through work.
You have, I guess, the computer guy who comes in and helps when you can't figure things out. And they tell you just
Right.
hit
We have a large-
like that with me, they just tell you restart your computer.
That's right.
And then usually it works. And they always ask me this first thing, did you restart your computer? You'd think I'd catch on, but then I'm like, oh no, I didn't think of that. Okay. You have been on a jury before, or a grand jury, correct?
I've been on grand jury.
Grand jury, okay.
And then I've had jury selection, but I haven't been chosen.
Okay. So grand jury, how long ago was that?
It's been within the last 10 years.
Okay.
So.
And then with jury selection, you come in for like this process, but you didn't actually make the 12 to hear the actual trial, correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
Right. Actually, I probably would have, but we had plans, and so I was dismissed.
Okay. Now you have been, or you belong to a church or attend a religious organization or institution here? Okay, which organization is that?
St. Simon's Community Church.
All right. And you have had a job in the past that in the paying capacity that works with kids. Is that as a nurse?
As a nurse, I've had pediatric patients that I've looked after.
Now you've also cared for somebody who's been sick or disabled. Is that also in your job or something different?
Both of my parents.
Now I believe you stated that you have family in Cobb County. Let's okay. So I know people have said, well, we don't know what part it is. What part of Cobb County?
Smyrna.
That is Cobb County. All right. And do you visit them very often, or you just know they live there? Okay. they probably would rather take the opportunity to come visit here rather than going up there, right?
When they can get off.
Right.
It's been a couple of years since we've seen each other.
Okay. All right, I really don't have much else. What do you like to do in your spare time if you have any?
Well, I don't have a lot of time, but working in the yard is going to the beach.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
I grew up in Smyrna. Who do you know in Smyrna?
Carol and Ted Schlitz, like the beer.
Like the beer. Okay. Do you ever stay with them when you go there?
I have not stayed with them probably since my son was playing in the ball tournament when he was in high school, so it's probably been 8 years ago.
Okay. Do you travel, or have you traveled to that area very often, the 285, 75 area around Smyrna?
I had an aunt that passed away about a year ago, and we went up there. That's the last time I've been there.
Okay.
Oh, I will say one thing. My daughter's boyfriend went to Southern Polytech and just graduated.
Okay.
Now Kennesaw this past year and went to his graduation.
Okay. So you have, it's fair to say, some familiarity with the general area and sort of the main thoroughfares or highways that run through that area.
Right. I used to live there. I lived there for 3 years.
I'm not
In
sure.
Atlanta, not in.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm not sure how I missed that. What area did you live in?
Gwinnett County,
Okay.
30 years ago.
Okay. All right, you indicated that your husband served as Assistant Director of Victim Assistance. Did I get that right? Okay, and that was for the DA's office in Glenn County.
Right.
And what years did he serve?
Well, he was there. He had been there. He left 5 years ago, and he was there for 9 years.
Is there how long?
He was there for 9 years.
9
and
years.
He left 5 years ago, so whatever
Okay.
that would be.
And can you tell us kind of what he did in that role?
Well, we always made an agreement when we got married that we did not bring our work home with us.
Really? Okay.
And we kept that. Now, I can assume that some of the things that he would do would be to assist victims of crime, and there were children sometimes that were involved.
Okay. Well, what about
He would be
families?
with them in the courtroom.
All right. Or the families, the extended family sometimes? All right, and he left that job to go to Flea Tech or Flexi. All right, and was he, the whole time he was there, he was working for Stephen Kelly?
That's correct.
All right, so that's how, I mean, that's basically how y'all know
Well,
Judge
no,
Kelly?
he knew him beforehand. They were in the exchange club, I think, it was together.
Okay, so they would be personal friends
They
then?
were personal friends before.
Okay. Do you think that there would, you would feel any pressure with your husband having worked at the DA's office here? Do you think that you would feel any pressure to return a verdict on the side of the district attorney having that, your husband having worked here? Do not? You indicated that you you know some defense attorneys, but when you knew them, originally you knew them as prosecutors. You knew people like me and Mr. Lumpkin who had a career and then became defense attorneys, right?
They left the DA's office and opened up
Left the
their own
DA's
practice.
office. Okay. And you liked them, you liked these folks when they were prosecutors?
Yeah,
You were friendly?
And that's correct.
Okay.
And we had kids that played soccer and baseball together.
Okay. And you still like them now?
Yeah.
They didn't turn into bad folk just because they became defense attorneys?
No.
I was holding my breath with that answer. All right.
To me, they were people, you know.
Of course.
I didn't deal with them in their job.
Of course.
I dealt with them outside that realm.
All right. Grand jury. Occasionally we get folks who have served on a grand jury. How long ago did you serve in that role?
It's been within the last decade,
Okay.
but
I
it's
think you said
not
that.
within the last 5 years. So
Okay.
it's before then. I don't remember the date.
And the terms of court here are how many months?
It was a year.
You had to serve a whole year?
I had to serve a whole year,
So you met once or twice a month?
once a month.
Okay. And the district attorney would bring a witness in who would tell you a little bit about what the case was about, and then the grand jury would decide whether or not to indict.
Exactly.
Did you ever follow any of the cases that you true billed? Did you
No.
ever follow up to see what happened to them?
No. They were mainly drug-related cases.
Okay. And if I've written this down correctly, you never actually made it to a jury box in a pettit jury.
Correct.
Okay. Do you know anybody else other than Judge Kelly and the defense attorneys? Do you know anybody else that you think that we should know about that might have any bearing on whether or not you might be an appropriate juror for this case?
No.
Okay. Do you mind me asking the name of the former prosecutors that you know who are now just...
Oh my gosh. Keith Higgins
Okay.
is one. And a couple more. Last name was Perry. Is it John Perry? John Perry was one.
Okay.
Wexler, Steve Wexler. I think his name is Steve.
All right. Thank you. All right, and I believe you two had answered that you had heard PSAs about not getting your or leaving your animal in a car. Public service
Commercial.
announcements.
Commercial.
Commercial. Like on TV?
Right.
Okay. Judge, if I can have just one moment, please.
Indeed.
Our notes indicate generally that you indicated that you knew folks in law enforcement, which is obviously not surprising given your history as well as your husband's. But I guess I should ask more specifically, if there is anyone that's serving maybe as a deputy sheriff now or a police officer now here locally that you know.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't say that. I know Neil Chump. Yeah.
Okay. And then have y'all, you know him like as a personal friend?
More with my husband knowing him. I mean, I see him out, speak to
Okay.
him and talk to him. He comes to the hospital, the business, and I see him there. I mean, we don't go out and socialize or anything.
Okay.
And also, the one sitting in, I can't even remember his name. I know my
The
husband.
really handsome guy in the back?
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay. You know him?
Mhm.
Okay.
But the name's coming to me right now is not his name, so I don't want to say it. But I do know him.
You understand, I mean, we have to follow up with the logical question, which is, you know, knowing these folks that are in law enforcement in the community, is that going to prevent you from being fair and impartial to both sides?
No.
You're not going to feel any pressure to, you know, lean toward the district attorney's side?
No. I mean, that's like being a nurse. You can't take partiality. You can't judge people when they come in. So you have to learn to be impartial.
I think I know the answer to this, but you consider yourself a details person?
Yes.
And if Mr. Bourne asked you this, and I did not get it written down, I apologize, but what has been the primary focus of your career as a nurse? What area or expertise?
Critical care and nephrology.
Is that kidneys? Kidneys?
Yes.
Good afternoon. Juror 5. You work as a mechanic right now, correct?
Yes.
How long have you worked in that field?
Probably 14 years now.
So that's got to be your whole adult career, right?
Yes.
Okay. And your wife works in the home, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and before you guys had kids, did she work outside of the home?
She actually worked at a bank
Okay.
as a teller.
All right. Okay, you've known somebody who's been in the military before?
Yes, I actually was in the Navy. My father was in the Navy and the Air Force. My cousin was in the Army. My uncle was in the Navy. And my grandfather was in the Merchant Marines.
And how long were you in the Navy?
4 years.
And thank you for your service. Is that kind of where you picked up the trade?
Sort of, yes.
Okay. All right. You attend church somewhere locally?
Yes, actually, Bay Harbor Church of God.
Bay Harbor. Okay. All right. You're probably kind of in the in-between area of social media and using technology and things like that.
Yes, I do use Facebook.
Okay.
I do use the Messenger, the Facebook Messenger, a lot of times just to keep in touch with family. I do not use Twitter. I have used Craigslist.
Okay.
My wife insists that I have Snapchat, so I do have Snapchat.
Okay, why does she insist that you have Snapchat? She send you a picture of the kids, the babies?
Exactly.
All right, like, look what the baby's doing today.
That's
Yeah, okay. Yes, I also have a 10-month-old. And so while we've been down here, it is, I've been, yes, I have a lot of videos and stuff. So, not as good as the real thing, but it's
That's
good.
right.
All right, let me go through some of those other names just so you, so make sure if you're familiar or not. YouTube?
Yes, I am familiar with that.
Okay, and what do you use YouTube for?
Mostly for the how-tos.
Okay. All right, how about Instagram?
I do have it on my phone. That was something my wife insisted upon, but I have yet to open it.
All right.
It was wasted space.
All right, talked about Twitter. Reddit?
Never heard of it.
Okay. Kick?
Never heard that one.
Okay. Backpage? Whisper?
No.
Okay. Scout, and that's with a K. S-K-O-U-T. Okay, and you said Snapchat, so we've got that covered.
Yes.
All right, legal television shows, fictional, non-fictional, talking head shows. What do you watch?
Yeah, I always enjoyed like the NCIS, the first 48. I did enjoy what was it, Judge Joe Brown.
Yeah.
I did enjoy watching that. Back when I was younger, I enjoyed Unsolved Mysteries. Other than that, not a whole lot. There's a lot of Disney Junior on TV these days.
A lot of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse?
Right.
All right. Now you're all going to be singing that song if you know it when you leave here. It's terrible. Okay. So aside from that, I believe you've known somebody who's been arrested before.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Yes. Actually, my oldest stepbrother was arrested for DUI recently. And my father was actually arrested, I guess it would be a domestic dispute. He actually hit my stepmother.
Okay.
He was arrested for that.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't know anyone else.
Okay. Your oldest stepbrother, do you even know enough about that situation to have an opinion as to whether he was treated fairly or not?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
And your father, was this something that happened when you were a child?
Yes, this was, oh goodness, I have to say I was maybe 11 or 12.
Okay. And
20 to 21 years ago.
okay. And was this something, does it happen here in Glenn County?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And do you believe it was the issue was handled appropriately, or he was treated fairly?
Yes. Yes.
All right. I believe you've given a statement to the police before. Was it something in regard to that, or something
No,
different?
no, it was not.
Okay.
Actually, when my wife and I bought our home, it was broken into,
Ah.
so we actually had to give a statement on that.
And did they ever catch the people who had broken in or recover any of the property?
They suspected, but never got a confession, so no.
Okay. Okay. Unfortunately, I think you've known somebody who's had to deal with the death, the sudden passing of a child.
Yes, actually, when I was 6 years old, myself, my real brother, mother, and 2 cousins were in a car accident, and both my mother and 3-year-old brother died.
I'm very sorry to hear that. Okay. All right. Online dating. You know somebody who's dated online or met
Actually,
some?
my aunt that lives in Lake City, Florida, she actually met her husband of probably 15 to 20 years now online.
Okay. So that's probably like the first message ever sent was between them. Right.
She was in Lake City at the time,
Right.
and I guess he was in Virginia.
Right. Okay. I guess the internet's been around longer than that. It just seems
Well,
new to me.
you know, I say it's been that long. It feels like it's been that long.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And obviously, you've transported children in a car seat, or you do currently. And you have 2 children?
3.
3. Okay. The youngest is really young, right?
9 months.
Okay.
Yes, my youngest is a 9-month-old girl, 3-year-old son, and a 10-year-old daughter.
And well, the 10-year-old, she's already out of booster seat, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you ride in the car, what kind of car do you drive when you transport?
I actually drive a 4-door Silverado, and
Okay.
my wife has a Kia Sorento.
And with with your car, where are the car seats situated?
It's not the full 4-door, so we have to kind of make do, but my youngest child is in the center,
Okay.
and then my boy is on the right-hand side behind the passenger seat.
Okay. So the boy is forward facing, I assume.
Exactly.
And then the 9-month-old is rear facing
In the center, right?
in the center, kind of right there beside you.
That's right.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, no, in the back.
Well, not right beside you, but right there. Okay. And the Silverado, that's a pretty big truck.
Yes.
All right. Now the Kia, where do you have the car seats in? The Kia is kind of a smaller, like SUV, right?
It's actually set up the same way.
Okay.
It does have the 3rd row, but it's not used for the children.
Mhm.
So it's set up the same way as my truck. youngest daughter's in the middle, and my son's on the right-hand side.
And in the Sorrento, is that a smaller car, a smaller SUV?
It's a smaller SUV, yes.
Okay.
The third row is, I wouldn't call it third row.
Right. They put it in there to sell cars, but
Right.
no human being's probably going to get back there.
No.
Unless you're like a teenager and you're piling people in the car or
The
something.
car seat would never fit back there.
Yes, sir. Okay. And I think you said you've heard commercials or something about pets and don't leave your
I
pet in
have
the
seen
car.
the commercials of the pets being in the vehicles, yes.
Okay. All right. I don't really have much else. I assume with 3 kids and having kids that young, you don't have hardly any free time. If hypothetically one day you were given free time, what would you want to do?
Well, actually, my kids are always involved. I'm very outdoorsy.
Yes, sir.
I've gotten my boy involved in hunting this year. My 10-year-old enjoys to hunt.
Yes, sir.
We enjoy the beach, and I do enjoy working out. So,
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
thank you.
All right, I think we're in the home stretch of the afternoon, I think. Couple of things to follow up. First thing that I want to ask you about is the hunting. That's something that's your hobby, something you do in your free time that you enjoy, but you want to teach it to your children.
Yes,
All right. Do you have to have a license for that?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, they do have a hunter's certification course. And you do, I myself, I don't have a lifetime license, so I do buy mine yearly.
All right. Do you have to take any sort of safety course?
Yes, that is part of the certification.
And in taking your, let's see, your 10-year-old, do you take your 10-year-old hunting?
I have, yes.
Okay. You don't take your 3-year-old with you?
I've actually just started to take it this year. We actually went bow hunting last weekend.
Bow hunting?
Yes.
Okay. And do you incorporate lessons on safety with your children?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have a certain protocol that you follow each and every time to make sure that the weapons are safe and used properly?
Absolutely.
Okay. And is that part of what you're teaching your children?
Absolutely. My youngest boy, I have not gotten into gun control quite yet. His portion of getting into hunting is more or less learning how to be quiet, how to wear the vest, and how to just be safe. Biggest part being quiet.
Right.
My 10-year-old, she has a lot more knowledge. She knows the gun safety as far as not chambering, a bullet until you're in your position, ready to go. Safety stays on. She knows to wear her vest, things of that sort.
So when you take the kids, does your wife go as well, or are you just transporting the children?
My wife in no way, shape, or form likes to go.
She's not going to go. Okay. All right. So at any given time where you're doing this activity with the kids, you may have one, or you may have I guess one car seat in your truck for the 3-year-old.
Yes.
Your 10-year-old wouldn't need a car seat. Right. I assume that because your wife is not working at this time, she is the one primarily responsible for transporting the kids.
Yes, that's correct.
Does she have 2 car seats in her car now?
Yes.
Okay. And sure, they're both in the back seat.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And if you mentioned this, I did not get it. In her car, is there one on either side?
No, they're actually, the youngest, the 9-month-old, is actually in the center.
Okay.
And then my 3-year-old son seat is actually on the right side, behind the passenger side.
Passenger side.
Yes.
Okay. So the 3-month-old would be in a rear facing,
Right, directly in the center.
or the 9-month-old would be in a rear facing.
Right.
And the 3-year-old would be in a forward facing now.
Right.
On the
Passenger
behind the
side.
passenger.
Right.
Okay. And y'all leave those seats in her car at all times?
Yes, they stay in her car, and I actually have my own that stay in my car,
Okay.
in my truck.
Does your schedule allow for opportunity for you to help out with the kids from time to time and give her a break?
As far as after work, yes. Before work, absolutely not. I usually leave for work at 5 o'clock. I work in Jacksonville, so.
Oh, okay. Well, so she basically has to take them everywhere if she's going to go get groceries or get gas or dry cleaning or whatever.
Usually I do my best to fill a car at 4,
Okay.
and we typically go to the grocery store together.
Okay.
So, but yes, any other errands that she does do, yes, she usually has 2, if not all 3 of them.
All right. Does the Church of God have any sort of Mother's Day out program?
I do believe they have things occasionally. I don't believe she's ever taken advantage of any of that.
Okay.
And I actually, if I could, I need to make a correction, and I do apologize. When I was asked about the military, how many years, it was actually 2 years, not 4. I believe you asked that. Thank you, sorry.
Are you a details-oriented person?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that come in part from spending a couple of years in the military?
I believe it has to do with the military, possibly with my family, the way we've been oriented. And I pay attention to detail a lot because of my job. A lot of times we repair large pieces of equipment, and it has to be done certain ways and has to be done correctly. There's not really a whole lot of room for error. I think that's also kind of something that's molded me as well.
My understanding is most, you probably got a ton of tools, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you, when you're working on equipment, or do you download diagrams and specs and so forth from the internet, or do you use manuals and books?
Generally, we have manuals that we use. Typically, do not use the internet much at work, things of that sort. Basically, every piece of equipment that we have to work on, we have a manual for everything. So anything I need to find, obviously, no one person's going to know everything. I won't even claim that I do, but I know where to find the information if I need it.
And it's not like baking a cake where you can maybe put a little more or a little less in doing what you do.
That's right.
It has to be exact.
That's right.
There is no room for error.
That's right. Correct.
Okay. I think there's something that, yeah, we have to talk to you about. Think about one other thing in private. Okay. Thank you.
Sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll recess for the day. We'll resume at 9 o'clock in the morning, come back to the jury assembly room at that time. In the meantime, keep an open mind and don't discuss the matter with each other or anyone else. Have no contact with the